Don't notice him. Laura was used to attention. Not because she wanted to, it just happened that way. Tall, with dark hair that fell in soft waves around her shoulders, and a look that either flustered men or made them say too much. She worked as a bartender at a small but expensive club on the outskirts of town, a place where people came not to relax, but to make deals, money, connections, sometimes problems. But that evening, it all started with a simple phrase, "Don't notice him." It was a regular customer, Artyom, who said it. He was sitting at the bar, as usual, wearing an expensive coat and with an expression as if he knew a little more about the world than anyone else. Who? Laura didn't even look into the room. Just, "Don't turn around." She grinned. "Are you serious right now?" "Absolutely." Lera looked anyway, and immediately regretted it. In the far corner, almost in the shadows, sat a man. Ordinary, too ordinary. No flashy details, no expensive clothes, no obvious signs of a criminal record, but he was looking at her. Not like a man looks at a beautiful girl. Not with desire, not with interest. As if he was waiting for her. A strange sensation. Lera looked away, but something inside her tightened. "Who is that?" she asked quietly. Artyom slowly took a sip. "You're a smart girl. Just pretend he's not there." "That sounds like bad advice." "That's the best advice you'll hear today." The first oddities. An hour later, the man was still sitting there. He didn't drink. He didn't speak. He didn't move. And the strangest thing was, no one noticed him. The waiters walked around him as if he were part of the furniture. The security didn't even check him. One time, a girl literally walked right past his desk and didn't even glance at him. Laura felt a chill. "You said don't notice." She leaned toward Artyom again. "But what if I notice?" He looked at her for the first time that evening. "Seriously, it's late. Contact." And just at that moment, the man stood up. Slowly. No hurry. He headed straight for the bar. Every step echoed inside Lera, not even with fear, but with some strange premonition. He stopped in front of her. "Whiskey," he said. His voice was ordinary. Too ordinary. Lera poured herself a drink, trying not to look him in the eye. "You've never been here before," she said, trying to break the silence. "I have. I would have remembered." He bowed his head slightly. "No," and at that moment, she looked at him. Mistake. Big mistake. Because for a second, it seemed to her that his face was changing, as if she couldn't remember it, as if it was slipping away, like a dream that vanishes as soon as you wake up. "Warning. You've already seen me," he said calmly. "No, I have." Her fingers gripped the glass, tighter than necessary. "What do you need?" He smiled, lightly, almost softly, "so that you learn to ignore it again." Disappearance. A second later, he was gone. Just gone. No movement. No departure. He was gone. Lera raised her head sharply. "Did you see that?" She turned to Artyom, but the seat next to him was empty. Artyom had also disappeared, and that's when it became truly scary. Because the club was full of people. The music was playing. The lights were flickering. Life went on as usual, but no one was looking at Lera. No one at all. She stepped out from behind the counter. "Hey." No reaction. She touched the shoulder of one of the guests. He didn't even turn around, and as if she didn't exist. And then she remembered the words, "Don't notice him." The final hook. A voice came from behind. "See how it works?" Laura slowly turned around. He was standing there, again. "Now," he said, "you're not noticed." He took a step closer. "And if you want to come back, pause. You'll have to do the same with someone else." Don't notice him. Part 2. Lara stood there, unable to move. The music blared. People laughed. Glasses clinked. But for her, it all became background. The world went on without her. "It's impossible," she whispered. The man bowed his head slightly as if listening to a familiar melody. "On the contrary, it's very simple." He ran his finger along the bar counter. "You saw it yourself. No one notices what they don't want to notice." "What did you do to me?" "Me?" He chuckled. "Nothing." Pause. "You were the one who looked." "Rule." He leaned closer. Now Lera could smell him strangely neutral, as if he didn't exist. "There is a rule," he said quietly. "A very old one, a simple one." He looked her straight in the eyes. "If you notice someone who shouldn't be noticed, you become the same. Laura's mouth went dry. And how can I undo that? He smiled, and there was nothing human in that smile. Pass it on. The first victim. Laura took a step back. No. Yes. He nodded off to the side. Pick anyone. She looked out into the hall. People. Dozens of people. Laughing, dancing, living. I won't do this. Then you'll disappear. He shrugged. Not right away. That's not how it works. How? He ran his hand through the air as if wiping away invisible dust. First, they stop hearing you. Then they stop seeing you. Then they remember you. Lera inhaled sharply. That's crazy. Really? He pointed at the bartender who had just taken her place. Another guy. New. He was working as if Lera had never existed. Ask him, the man said calmly. Check. Lera approached. Hey, she slammed her palm on the counter. Zero reaction. You took my place. Silence. She leaned right into his face. Can you hear me? The guy continued wiping his glass. As if she were air. Cracks in reality. Lera recoiled. And suddenly she noticed photographs on the wall. They used to be pictures of the club's employees. She walked closer and froze. Her photos disappeared, as if they had never been there. The process has already begun, a voice said behind her. The deal. How much time do I have? Laura asked without turning around. Not much. More specifically, by morning you'll be completely gone. She clenched her fists, and all I have to do is make someone not notice me. No. He stepped closer. You have to make them notice me. Lera turns slowly. What? That's the only way the transfer works, he said. The new person has to see me. But you said you can't notice. You can't. Pause. But if they notice, it's too late. Trap. Laura felt panic rising inside. So, I have to doom someone. Call it what you will. He took a step back. Or disappear. Choice. She glanced around the room, and for the first time in a long time, she began to look at people differently. Not as guests, as options, candidates. A drunk businessman at the bar, loud, self-confident. No one would pity such a person. A young couple on the couch, happy, laughing. A lonely guy in the corner, quiet, inconspicuous. It was on him that her gaze lingered, because he looked the way she felt now. Doubt. Good choice, the man said. I haven't decided yet. Already decided. Approach. Laura walked toward the guy. Every step was heavy. Hi, she said, sitting down opposite him. Zero reaction. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and said, You can see him, right? The guy blinked and looked at her for the first time. Contact. Oh, he asked. Laura felt something inside her tight. This was the moment, the point of no return. She could get up, leave, disappear, or... She slowly turned her head. The man stood behind her. There he is, Lera whispered. Mistake or salvation. The guy looked and froze. For a second. For a split second. But that was enough. Transmission. The music suddenly grew louder. The light flickered. And Lera felt relief, as if something had let go. She inhaled sharply. And for the first time in a long time, she felt seen. People started looking at her again. Someone even nudged her with their shoulder. Watch where you're going. She turned to the guy. He sat motionless and stared at the same spot. Aftermath. Congratulations, a voice said nearby. The man was standing next to her again. But no, he wasn't looking at her, but at the new host. You're free. Lera was breathing heavily. Is that all? For you, yes. He smiled. Bye. Final turn. Laura walked out of the club. The cold air hit her face. She took a few steps. She stopped, and suddenly she realized one thing. Too important. Too late. She took out her phone, opened the camera, and aimed it at her face. A second. Two. And her heart sank, because she wasn't alone in the photo. Last line. He stood right behind her. And now, his smile widened.